Hello and welcome everyone. This is Doris. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Well, if you watched yesterday's video, you saw where I had a pretty big haul, and the beginning of the video showed some items that I forgot to mention, and so I wanted to point those out. But first, I wanted to share the project I'm going to be working on, which is using this cornbread box. And in my video yesterday, I mentioned seeing my mother-in-law. Well, her birthday is coming up this month, and I had asked her to save this box, and she said, "What are you going to do with that?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to come up with something." And then that leads me to the items that I forgot yesterday, because those items were some fabrics that she's had in the past from the 70s, and she asked me if I would like them. So let me go ahead and share them with you. A variety of things, and the first is this piece of beautiful trim, different solid color fabrics here, and she literally had scraps. She was working on a project many years ago, never finished it, and so this is part of the project. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go through the fabrics. This one here, it says Quilter's Quarter, Parks Fabric Mart. Then we have this cool transfer pattern. It's in bad shape, but I can definitely use part of this on the back. And then here is what she was working on. There's a couple of them here. So you can see she was trying to work on what looks like a log cabin type quilt. So these are those pieces. And then here's more fabrics. So the first thing I want to do, you can see I've already done some measuring here. I do not want to keep the spine of the journal this wide. This is like 1.5 inches, and I would prefer to have like a 1-inch spine. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this down. Okay, I have the box cut down, and the next step is to shorten the width of the spine, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, I cut the spine down, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue the two pieces together so that we have a 1-inch spine. There's going to be a little lip back here, but I'm not too worried about that because I'm going to be covering that up. All right, so I'll go ahead and glue that on. Okay, so I have my 1-inch spine that I wanted glued down. And the next step is to add more reinforcement for the covers. This is an optional step. You don't have to do this. You could just go ahead and put whatever you want on the inside. You could do scrapbook paper, you could do fabric, but I just want to give it extra sturdiness. All right, so I'm actually going to go ahead and cover these two pieces with some scrapbook paper. So let me do that and I'll be back. Okay, now I have the inside cover. The next step will be this piece in here. And then once I glue this reinforced piece for the spine, and then I'll put a piece of fabric over it to hide all of the rest of the cardboard that you see there. And the next step will be gluing down the front and back cover here. All right, that's already much more solid. So the next step would be to add my fabric down the center. So just to be totally transparent about what I'm doing, I didn't like the look of how the fabric, you could see the cardboard through the fabric. So I went ahead and cut a piece of Tyvek, which is just a piece of like these mailers that have that really tough paper. It's hard to describe what kind of paper it is. It doesn't rip, and so it makes for a very secure spine. So that's what I'm doing now. And then one thing you definitely want to do when you put the Tyvek on is to really push it down into the crease of each side. That way your book will open and shut well. And I'm just going to use a bone folder to kind of reinforce where the glue goes. All right, one thing I like about Fabri-Tac, if it gets outside the line of where you want it to, it just will ball right up and you can wipe it right off. Okay, so look at this. Yeah, that's what we're wanting. We want it to open and shut really easy. Okay, everything looks good so far. And I want to mention, a lot of people have trouble, including me, with this Fabri-Tac glue coming up through the top when you take the lid off. I was getting so frustrated by that. And then one day, a gal, her YouTube channel is called Crinkled Path, and she suggested when you get a new bottle to leave that seal piece underneath the top here and just poke a hole in for the glue to come through. Don't completely peel this off. And I'm telling you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was the best idea ever because it truly does work. It's not bubbling out because it would be doing it right now because it's a fairly full bottle. So watch those YouTube channels. Everyone has really great ideas. All right, next step is my fabric. And I'm going to follow along in one of my favorite crafters' footsteps, Diane of Pretty Pink Cottage. I love how she adds the fabric to her spines, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. And what she does is she wraps it around like this. I got this way too long. I'll cut that off, but and that way it's pretty on this side and it can still be flexible and it'll be on the other side. All right, so I'm gonna carefully glue that down. I'm gonna start at the bottom right here first. This is one of them times where Fabri-Tac can show through the fabric if it's too thick. So you want to be careful and just apply a thin but consistent coat on there. I'm going to use my little silicone brush to help smooth out the glue. Kind of just want to make sure you keep it straight. And then you just want to carefully press that in. Now we're going to go to the front side. We're going to glue along here. I covered up a little bit more of her name and long hair than what I wanted, but that's okay. It's going to look cute when it's done, no matter what. And you don't want to pull it really tight because you want the book to be able to move freely, opening and shutting it. All right, I'd say that looks pretty good for an amateur job. All right, let's make sure it's closing good. Yep, the glue seems to be holding that fabric down really well. And then see, my spine looks much prettier. And you can't even tell where I overlapped the seam there for the spine. And then we'll be putting a closure on and picking out some papers. All right, well that's all that I'm going to be doing for today. I hope you'll come back for my next video where I continue this project and a special gift for my mother-in-law. Until then, all of you have a wonderful day and we'll see you next time.